Dnipropetrovsk is burning. Iskander-M missiles are hitting, drones are flooding the sky. And the real question is, how is this still happening despite Ukraine's defenses? Right now, the situation inside Dnipropetrovsk is escalating in a way that can no longer be ignored. This is not a distant report or a delayed update. This is a pattern of strikes unfolding with precision and intent. Dnipropetrovsk is not just another city under pressure. It is a major industrial and logistical backbone directly tied to Ukraine's operational capacity in the east. What is happening here is not random. It is structured, calculated, and designed to hit where it hurts the most. As night falls, the first wave begins to take shape. Ballistic missiles identified as Iskander-M are launched toward key areas across the city. The targets are not accidental. Reports point to zones near critical transport routes and energy infrastructure, locations that play a direct role in sustaining both civilian life and military operations. Within moments, explosions are heard across multiple sectors, but the initial impact is only the beginning. Seconds later, secondary detonations ripple through the area. These are not ordinary blasts. They suggest that the missiles have struck volatile targets, fuel reserves, industrial materials, or storage facilities. The result is a chain reaction. Fire spreads rapidly, intensifying the destruction far beyond the original strike. This is not just damage, it is amplification, engineered to maximize impact. Almost immediately, massive fires are reported at a fuel depot. Flames surge into the night sky, visible from miles away, and continue burning with an intensity that indicates large quantities of fuel are involved. This is not a contained incident. It is a sustained burn, feeding on strategic resources. Then another report emerges. A fuel station has also been hit. At this point, the pattern is undeniable. Energy and fuel infrastructure are being systematically targeted. This is not about hitting frontline units. It is about disrupting the systems that keep them operational. In modern warfare, cutting off fuel and power can be as effective as destroying armored units. Without fuel, mobility collapses. Without electricity, coordination weakens. Civilian life is affected, but so is military capability. The overlap is intentional. Another layer of the operation adds even more weight to the situation. There are claims that a Ukrainian drone control center in the region has been destroyed by a Russian UAV unit known as Vostok. If this is accurate, the implications are significant. Drones are central to how this war is fought. They provide surveillance, targeting, and strike capability. Disrupting their command structure reduces visibility and slows response time. It creates blind spots. And that leads to the critical question. If Ukraine is supported by advanced Western air defense systems, why are these strikes still getting through? Systems like the Patriot missile system and NASAMS are among the most advanced in the world. But they are not impenetrable. No system is. Air defense is about interception probability, not absolute protection. When multiple threats approach simultaneously from different directions and at different speeds, some will inevitably break through. Russia appears to be leveraging this through saturation tactics. Waves of low-cost drones are launched first. Their role is to trigger the defense systems, forcing them to engage and expend resources. Each interceptor fired reduces available capacity. As the system becomes increasingly occupied, the next phase begins. That is when the Iskander-M enters. Fast, difficult to intercept, and highly destructive, it is deployed at the moment when defenses are already stretched. This is not random timing. It is calculated sequencing. The objective is not just to strike, but to ensure the strike gets through. There is also an economic layer to this strategy. Interceptor missiles are expensive. Drones are relatively cheap. Over time, this creates a resource imbalance. One side forces the other to spend significantly more just to maintain defense. This turns air defense into a long-term sustainability issue, not just a tactical one. At the same time, Ukraine does not possess a full NATO air defense network. The systems in place are limited in number and must cover a wide area. A city the size of Dnipropetrovsk cannot be fully protected at all times. There are always gaps. And in a conflict like this, even a small gap is enough. Meanwhile, the global response continues to be measured. Support has not stopped. NATO countries are still providing weapons, ammunition, and intelligence. But direct military involvement remains off the table. The reason is clear: escalation. A direct confrontation between NATO and Russia would transform the conflict into something far larger. That threshold has not been crossed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has responded by condemning the strikes, framing them as attacks on civilian infrastructure and daily life. He continues to push for increased air defense support, emphasizing that the scale and coordination of these attacks require a stronger shield. His message is consistent. Without additional systems, more strikes will get through. However, one element remains constant in all of this: uncertainty. Not every claim can be independently verified in real time. Information moves fast, but confirmation takes longer. In modern warfare, narratives are part of the battlefield. This is why major outlets move cautiously, even when events appear clear from one side. What is happening in Dnipropetrovsk is not an isolated escalation. It reflects a deeper phase of the war. This is a conflict driven by attrition, a sustained effort to weaken infrastructure, drain resources, and reduce operational capacity over time. The targets, energy, fuel, command systems, are chosen for their long-term impact, not just immediate destruction. The city is still standing. Operations continue. But the pressure is constant. Sirens, fires, and disruptions are no longer exceptions. They are part of the environment. This is the reality of a prolonged war, where the outcome is not decided in a single moment, but through continuous strain. What makes Dnipropetrovsk different is not just the scale of the strikes, but what it represents in the broader structure of this war. This city is not on the front line, yet it is being treated like a critical node in a system that must be degraded. That alone reveals the shift in strategy. This is no longer about pushing lines on a map. It is about breaking the mechanisms behind those lines: fuel, power, coordination, and response time. Every strike against infrastructure forces Ukraine to make difficult choices: what to protect, what to repair first, and what to risk losing next. And every time those decisions are made under pressure, the margin for error grows thinner. This is how modern warfare quietly reshapes the battlefield, not through sudden collapse, but through sustained pressure that accumulates over time. At the same time, this raises a larger question that goes beyond one city, one strike, or even one phase of the war. If even advanced defense systems cannot fully stop these attacks, if critical infrastructure continues to be targeted again and again, and if the conflict continues to stretch without a clear endpoint, then what does victory actually look like for either side? Is it territory, endurance, or simply survival under constant pressure? Because what is happening in Dnipropetrovsk suggests something deeper. This war is no longer defined by decisive moments, but by prolonged strain. And if that is the case, then the real question is no longer who is winning today, but how long both sides can continue before something finally breaks. And in the end, the question is no longer about who strikes harder in one night. It is about who can endure longer, under pressure that does not stop.